today. It's 10:15, or at least it was supposed to be 10:15 when we pressed go, and we are here with Scott Marshall, the safe driver. We're talking about traffic safety, and I got a new backdrop. It's really exciting. So before we get into the stuff we got to talk about, I got some business to take care of, and that is talking about Vision Zero. More specifically, the Vision Zero enforcement team. They are a group of officers that go throughout the city. They're members of traffic services who go throughout the city into areas, different divisions, and they focus on speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. What are those? Those are the big four. They're the behaviors, the driving behaviors that certain drivers choose to take part in, and what they do is they put people's lives at risk. They lead to serious injury and death on our roads, and what the Vision Zero enforcement team is specifically trying to do is reduce serious injury and death on our roads. Today they are going to be out in 23 Division and 42 Division. I say they're going to be out. They're already out. They've been out since 5 in the morning, and they do a great job at doing what they do. And if you want to avoid meeting one of them, and the ticket that usually comes along with it, don't break any laws, and you'll be just fine. Yeah, that's it. That's all. Now, I mentioned we've got Scott Marshall. For those who don't know who Scott is, he's the safe driver. You can get him at Twitter, on Twitter, the safe driver. You can get him on TikTok at the safe driver, and you really want to go visit him there. He's a blogger. You can get him at thesafedriver.ca. And of course, if you just want to drive around listening to his voice all the time, check out his podcast. It's Speed Bumps, the Safe Driving Podcast. And you just got back from a fishing trip. Welcome home.
I did. Always nice to get away, especially in the as fall had hit last week, and getting the leaves changing colors in northern Ontario. It's a wonderful getaway.
I don't know the last time I've gone fishing. It's been a very long time for me. But I one day maybe I'll go fishing with you. We'll go catch some thing.
You know the old saying: it's better a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work.
There you go.
And it's so peace and quiet. There's a few hours at a time. The lake is like glass, and you're just casting away all the time. You're getting that upper body workout, casting away. And so it's a fitness thing.
Fitness. I'm glad you're serious about fitness. It's good. Me too. I'm usually lifting a sandwich.
I do a lot of fitness. I jump to conclusions. I roll my eyes. I jog my memory. That's my fitness routine for every day. So it's good.
Awesome. So we are. We've got lots to talk about. There's just so many things. You saw some wonderful things on your trip to your fishing location.
Yeah, so I don't have it on my laptop, but I'll just pop it up here so that we can see how not to park your vehicle on the 401. So my buddy's driving his truck, and I'm in the passenger seat being a co-pilot and navigator, and we're slowed down to get through all of this, and obviously a couple lanes were blocked and the shoulder as well. And as we passed it, I looked at the front of the vehicle, just try to analyze what was happening. And the passenger corner of the vehicle was all banged up, and shrapnel of the vehicle across the road, across the lanes. And then there was another vehicle where the corner of their vehicle was, it was the driver's rear corner. So my anticipation through that and through experience is that the driver didn't have the space around their vehicle. They tried to change lanes. I think it looks like they tried to sneak in behind another vehicle, and they didn't have the space. They didn't have the room to do that, or they did, but the driver hit their brakes ahead of them, so they didn't leave enough space to do a proper lane change, and they got spun out. And because the debris was spread all around, chances are that driver did a full spin, like at least a 180 spin.
Spin cycle. It's a washing machine move.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to have space around our vehicle, and I call it a space cushion or a space bubble. You can't rely on the other driver to always let you in. They may not even notice that you're there for that brief moment. So you have to look out for yourself. And that's a big plus, right?
Well, it's funny you say that. There's this belief that if I turn my signal on, you have to let me in. You have to, I'm going, so you got to get out of my way because I'm important. And it's not exactly like that. A, you don't know if it's being communicated. Yeah, you're sending a little flash message. A, did you do a circle check? Do you know if your signals are even working? B, how do you know what that driver's doing? Are they paying attention? So you can't assume that they're just going to let you in. And then I always get the question, well, what am I supposed to do if they don't let me in?
Well, yeah. So if you do need to do a lane change and you're coming up to your exit and you've got to change lanes to the right, signaling is a good idea because no one can really read your mind, and you don't want to use a telepathic turn signal. So putting in your signal early lets drivers know, and someone might actually slow down to let you in. And if they don't, you're going to have to adjust your speed accordingly. Try to find that gap, but don't go bumper to bumper. This is not a parallel park on the 401 where you can squeeze into a tiny spot. You need the space in case even the person comes off their gas at 100K or whatever the speed is that they're doing. They're going to drop their speed pretty quick at a higher speed than at city speed. And so coming off the gas completely at 100K, you can drop down to 95 in a second or two very easily, or even more. So create that extra space. And I know we've talked about it before, Sean, but following distance is not judged by car lengths; it's judged by seconds. And I think I'm going to throw something up on a TikTok soon. I just need some help to film it on just how our reaction time varies for different factors. So I'll
I
throw that.
love my test, and whenever I give a presentation about to new drivers, I always talk about the catching money. And we'll have to. I can demonstrate that on a TikTok too. But yeah, I take a bill and
Yep.
hold it between their pincers. Their fingers are out. They're
Yep.
waiting. I say, if you can catch it, you can keep it. And no one catches it.
Yeah, I'm going to do something similar to that, but because I don't have any money, I'll use something else.
Okay, sounds good. The you know, we talk about following distances and
Yeah.
creating space and time and distance. These are all confusing things for folks because they're like, but if I leave room, someone's going to move into that space. So they're like defending that by being so close to the car in front of them to prevent someone from getting in front. There's no prize. There's no prize. So if you
No.
create space, you're being safe. If you're on the rear bumper of the car in front of you, or just too close to be able to reasonably react, it's a bad day. You're looking for a problem. So we put a video out on TikTok last week, and it was about brake check.
Yeah.
What happens if someone brake checks you? Well, sometimes I use terminology that could have many meanings, and it's done for a purpose. I like it when we create discussion. So a brake check could mean someone touching the brakes for no purpose other than to see if you're paying attention, trying to fraudulently or create a collision so they can claim that they were in one under and create that scenario so they can get benefits. There's other reasons why people do these things, and
Yeah.
those people can be charged. But my statement was, if you are so close to the car in front of you that a brake check affects you, you are too close to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. Throw in the inclement weather, and soon we're going to have it. Tomorrow's October. Yeah, and those conditions are going to affect your braking. And stopping distance. There's so many factors involved with stopping distance, and part of the fact of why it's done by seconds, not by car lengths, is your eye see what's happening, sends a message to your brain. Your brain says to your foot, get off the gas, get over to the brake. All of this takes time, and you haven't even touched your brakes yet.
Hmm.
So you need that visibility. You need the time to see, the time to move your foot, and then the time to actually stop. So yeah,
There's a lot of factors going in, and that whole response time. If you're traveling, I talk a lot about. If you're looking down at your phone while you're traveling at 60 kilometers an hour, how far have you traveled when you look down for a second? Well, that's when you take your eyes off the road, even when you're paying attention, you have that reaction gap, and I think there's a real buffer where people don't. It's suspended in disbelief.
yeah. The first season of Canada's Worst Driver, one of the first episodes we had, it was in the wintertime, and we had a wall of boxes ahead of us. And we got to a certain point, and I flipped a switch for the driver to see a light on the dash. And the one driver who was too busy looking at me, at their passenger, didn't see the light come on right away. By the time they did see the light, they hit their brakes, they hit the wall. So that distraction of a second or two caused them not to stop in time. And if you don't have enough of a following distance, same thing's going to happen, but more severe, especially if you're going at expressway speeds.
And yeah, it does make a huge difference, and that's why it's time versus distance. The Going back to this concept of brake checking, a lot of people say, well, what happens? It's okay. They accept if you're too close and someone brake checks you and you get into a collision. That was because you made a boo boo. You didn't leave enough room. But what about people who cut you off and hit the brakes, or cut you off and slow down because they just want to be first? How do you tell your students to prepare for that unknown, that change, create space while somebody's taking up the space?
Well, one is the sooner you find out that someone is going to do something, and the sooner you can respond. So, everybody uses the phrase defensive driving, and so forth. Let's call it offensive driving. And you look at sports, they often say the best defense is offense. So if you carry the puck and you're in control of the puck, or the football, whatever the case is, then the other team can't score. So I'm going to make the first move. So defensive driving is you're going to respond and react to other people's actions. But if I respond first with the anticipation of an action, then I'm ahead of the game. So if someone's going to cut us off, one of the things is that before they cross the lines, they have to get to the lines. So if you notice that the vehicle wheels are getting closer to the lane markings, tap the horn to say, "Excuse me, you're getting too close," or ease off the gas right away, or even brake if you have to, because they're coming over. Why wait until they're fully over before you do something? That's reactive. Let's be proactive instead.
I like that. So as soon as I watch a wheel movement tracking within the lane, it's one of the things I do when I'm looking for impaired drivers. Is I see a vehicle that does anything outside of the norm. I'm immediately paying attention to the fact that they've done something unusual. What are they
Yep.
going to do next? I've got heightened attention. If they do happen to move over, I'm slowing down to create extra space. And that's the thing. People, even on TikTok today, asked, "What do I do if someone's tailgating me?"
Yeah.
Well, you can slow down. You can get out of the way. You can get out of the way and slow down. But there's a number of options. What do you think the best one to deal with tailgaters is?
There's actually a few good ones. The getting out of the way is a good idea, so let them tailgate somebody else, not you. If you can't get out of the way, increase your following distance. The problem really is if you have to brake quickly and brake harsh, then you're not giving the driver behind a chance to stop. And yes, it's their fault, but your vehicle's involved. You could be injured, or your passengers as well. So if you increase your following distance to maybe double what it would normally be, you can still go as fast as the traffic in your lane. You just have a bigger distance. So that way, if the driver in front brakes harshly, you can brake right away, but not quite as harsh, and give the driver behind a chance to stop.
So there's so many things in play, but
Yep.
getting out of the way seems to be, in my opinion, the best thing to get away from that driver. Now,
Yep.
it came up this morning in our TikTok. They follow you. They've changed lanes. Now they follow you into the next lane. At that point, there's something maybe up that's more than simply
Yeah.
tailgating. It may be something where the police might be the next step.
Yeah, it could be the beginning of a road rage. And road rage, and being a road rage or being an angry driver, the main difference is follow through. People get angry behind the wheel, they get frustrated behind the wheel, but a road rager does follow through, and they do actions because of that anger. So you want to avoid them as much as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of that is being a courteous driver who's paying attention to what they're doing. Road rage,
Yeah.
may be your fault, maybe somebody else's. Why these people are in a bad mood could be because their dog died, the TV wouldn't start, no coffee was available. Whatever the reason, it's not an excuse that's acceptable, but it may not be you who's triggered them. At the end of the day, you're in the path of their rage, and you need to get away from them, not by speeding or doing something dangerous, by removing yourself from the situation and letting them get out of the way.
Yeah, and I mean you're making yourself just as bad if you retaliate to someone who's angry behind the wheel. You're no different if you do retaliate. Fight fire with fire. You're both going to get burned. So, um, yeah, do something and ignore them, and don't make eye contact, and don't mouth anything.
No birds, no birds anywhere. It's not worth it. It really
That's
isn't.
right.
It just escalates and then it gets out of control and bad things happen. There was a question from Dan Coughlin. I don't want to mispronounce her name. I apologize if I just did. But there was a question about parking or stopping in front of a fire station at a red light on the big white X. If there's this is everything that I can see through parking or obstructing a fire thing. And I'm not a parking person. I don't pretend to to let's see. Oh, here. No, I'm looking at fire departments things here. I can't find an easy answer for you. So, Dan, I'm going to look into this and give you a message back. But don't suppose you would know the answer to this, Scott. It's the dollar amount for the fine if you're
No, I
blocking
don't. I don't know the dollar amount for that. It's probably more of bylaw than anything else. It's the same as parking in front of a fire hydrant. It's a bylaw versus provincial law.
Oddly enough, there are some fire hydrant specific things in the HTA, but they're really low numbers, so I assume they're not
Yeah.
accurate. But we'll get you that answer a little later on, Dan. Just didn't want to leave you hanging. Uh, we're seeing. Have you got your jacket out? Are you wearing a jacket now? Not like
Yeah.
this second, but
I'm wearing like a little sweater because it's a little cool. We don't have the heat turned on, and I should wear a tube too. But it's a little cool in the building right now, and you go outside for some warmth this afternoon.
well, the I start my day very very early. I leave the house somewhere in the vicinity of 5 o'clock, and it's chilly, so I've started
It
wearing
is.
a jacket. And in that whole jacket wearing theme, it's cooler. The roads are cooler. I heard Sergeant Stein yesterday say that his tire pressure was low when he started his car. So things are changing. The weather is shifting. We'll have some hot days, some cool days, some things.
Yes,
But tires is a big topic because
they
temperature
are.
and tires are linked.
Yeah. So when the temperature drops, the tire pressure also drops. And if you're using air for your tire inflation, they can drop quicker than compared to hydrogen. And most are using air. So it would be a good idea to check your tires on a regular basis for inflation. We're always interested about inflation, this time about our tires. And but checking them overnight, like first thing in the morning, is a good idea. Not after you've been driving, because the heat of the rotation of your tires is going to give you a false reading. So when the car's been sitting idle for like 5 hours or more, that's the time to check your tire pressure.
Now, when you get your tires pumped up, whether it be when you have the green business or the regular air, do you get your blinker fluid taken care of at the same time?
Yeah, you do have to go to the service center and go to the parts and get some check your blinker fluid. And so I was at a automotive store, and I was waiting in line, and this just relates to it. I have to share it. And there's a senior citizen, and she needed something for her vehicle. I can't remember exactly what it was. So of course the technician asked, "What kind of car do you have?" And she said, "I have a blue one."
Okay.
And so I went outside with her. I said, so I that way I got the make and model of the car, and I came back in, gave it to the parts person. And yeah, so blinker fluid. I drive a blue car. I drive a red car. Yeah, you
It
need
all
a little
goes
bit more
together.
info than that. Yeah.
Just to go back to Dan's question that he had a moment ago in regards to the fines for preventing a fire truck from leaving a fire station because you're parking or stopping within the big white X. Q had done some looking up for us, and apparently violations of the Ontario Fire Code uh, could see violations up to $50,000 or $100,000 a year, and that's because her brother's a firefighter, and that's what he told her. So it's his fault if it's incorrect. No, I'm sure it's correct, but apparently, yeah, very serious. $50,000 to $100,000. $100,000 if it's a corporate or a commercial vehicle. Apparently,
Yeah.
and I really need to do some reading now because that's something I didn't know.
Yeah. And
Naxers says,
you don't want to get
"Ooh,
hosed on that either. So there you go.
you know." Big Jeff Fresh, who is currently rolling and crying because he's very yellow right now. I really enjoyed our blinker fluid joke. Uh, yeah, no hose, just air horn, according to Q. So,
Yeah. No.
so we talked about it briefly with tires, and when to make the switch. And seven degrees is the magic number we usually suggest, right?
It is. It's +7. It's not -7. And there really is a big difference between the winter tires and the all season tires, or some people still call them the summer tires, because some are tires and some are not. And part of it is that the rubber compound in winter tires is a softer rubber compound. The grooves are wider. It's a different pattern that allows the slush and snow to be removed from the tire. And the softer rubber allows them to grip the asphalt. The asphalt it's not just blah, it's tar. It's a different compound to help tires stick to it to a certain degree. But when the temperature gets to +7, your all-season tires become very hard. It's like driving on a rock. And I always make a comparison. I'll probably put it on TikTok as well. That if if you're wearing dress shoes and it's cold out and you start running down the road, and then you don't have a lot of traction, you feel unsteady on your feet. But if you had a pair of winter boots, even hiking boots, that type for the winter, it's a softer rubber sole, and you're going to have more grip. That's what your tires compare to.
And by the way, Naxers does not approve of our dad joke.
But we're
I thought
dads.
this is true. As dads, I think we have a license to use dad jokes, and blinker fluid is of my favorite dad joke.
I
Because it
know, of
combines
course.
my two passions: traffic safety, driving, with three passions, and being a dad. Amazing things.
Yeah. Uh,
Um,
so switching, and some people say, well, we don't have a lot of snow. I don't need to have winter tires. But the thing is, they're referred to as winter tires, not snow tires, because they're also for the season, not just for the elements.
yeah, it's about being able to stick to the ground, and not driving on that solid rubber core that will slide very nicely. Uh, in that whole winter discussion of tires, I see people that have been driving, and we talked about this before. They're still driving on the winter tires they had 2 seasons ago because they parked their car. They weren't doing a lot
Exactly.
of driving because of the pandemic. They've been driving for what little driving they've been doing on winter tires from 2 years ago. What do you think of that?
Not a good idea. The cost of switching is your tires is less than buying a new set of tires. Because the rubber compound is softer and the hot temperatures of the road, it's going to wear down the tires pretty quickly. And they're not designed to grip the hotter temperatures. So that they're not made for summer. They're made for winter and colder temperatures. And that is the reason. So when we talk about +7, so when you know you're going to get a regular temperatures of +7 or less, that's the time to switch. And the time to switch in the spring is when you're going to get above +7 on a regular basis. And
People
that's
don't
the
take
real.
into consideration this +7. If it's +7, they say, okay, well that's not that cold, but or not that hot. So if you're driving a winter tire when it's +7, and then you start taking highway rides, that tire is going to heat up tremendously. You put your hand on the tire after a long ride; it's not cold,
No,
and
exactly.
it could be even uncomfortable to the touch. So a lot is happening. Tire pressure changes in the temperature as well. We talked about that already, but you go for a highway ride, a couple hundred kilometers on a winter tire in the summer. That tire may be shot from that short ride. At least I've heard that from people in the tire business.
Yeah, absolutely. So the the uh, um, the difference really is um, how long do you really want your tires? So a typical driver is going to do like 24,000 k a year on their vehicle or even less. But if you're driving on your winter tires, every month out of the year, they're going to last you 2 years instead of 4 or 5 or 6 years. So you're not getting the value. And those who say, well, I can't afford winter tires, but here's the deal. When you find yourself a good deal on winter tires, you're not using your all-season tires. And if you're not using your all-season tires, they're going to last you longer. So 6 months all season, 6 months winter. Um, Typically, I'm looking at between the Thanksgiving and Halloween timeframe. That's often when your temperature drops at the 7 degrees. But I'm always going to be checking the forecast around the time, and then you're looking at around Easter. That's the time to switch them back. So you really are looking at 6 months for winter tires, and they can still last you, 4, 5, 6 years.
Especially, yeah, when you're taking care of them and
Yeah.
maintaining that on off business. Um, the one thing that people think, and it's possibly the biggest misnomer about winter tires, is that they're stickier. Thus, in the summer, they will stop better
No,
than tires for summer, because race cars have sticky tires. They stop fast, so they think there's a correlation, and it couldn't be less true.
no, it's not true. Race tires are different breed altogether. They're called slicks. They're made differently for that purpose. So our all-season tires and our winter tires are made differently for those purposes too. The winter tires are a better degree. Again, it's like the dress shoe versus the winter boot. And then the summer tires are harder rubber that will not wear down as fast. That helps wash out the rain and the wet roads and so forth. And the dry roads gives you that traction that you need. gives you the friction, and without the friction, you don't have traction. So the all seasons allow you to do that. They're flexible for the hotter temperatures, so they're made for that condition. Just like anything else we have that are made for different conditions of the year.
You know, going back to the race cars for a sec, those race tires, not only do they go through a number of sets per race, they heat
Mm,
them. They keep them in electrically uh, heated sleeves. So there's
yeah.
a lot more. To compare a winter tire to a race tire is pretty silly, but but it happens a lot. Going back to Dan, Jerome is down the hall and he's a parking guy, and he just handed me a piece of paper that says parking within 3.5, or sorry, between 30.5 meters of a fire hall, whether same side of the road or opposite side, is also a $40 ticket, aside from the big white X. But I thought that was interesting, so I wanted to share. Sean Chen is back. He said he had to go to school, I'm guessing. Big Jeff Fresh, when filling air in tires for winter, would shorting the air by a couple of psi help the grip?
No, that is a technique from the old bias ply tires from the 70s and 80s, where you soften them a little bit and you're going to get a softer, and the tires will bulge out at the bottom, give you a bit more tread. And it was a myth at the time too. So because of our radial tires that we have, um, the if you drop a couple of psi or more, you're going to get um, more tread of the sides of the tires, but the middle does not touch as much. It's just the opposite of overfilling your tires, where the middle bulges out and you're going to get more tread wear down the middle and less on the sides. So it's not an even portion of tread touching the road surface, and you want as much tread touching the road as possible. So, Big Jeff, the real answer about your tire inflation is on the inside door jamb of your driver's door. It lets you know what your tires should be inflated at, and the sidewall is your maximum. It doesn't mean that that's what you should be doing. It's just that if you, for any reason, want to fill it up, that's the most that you should. But you want to go with what your vehicle. So the tires aren't just vehicle specific, right? We can all buy tires for our vehicles, our different vehicles, but it's how that vehicle is rated with your tire inflation for comfort and control.
Yeah, you look at a Cadillac; they don't go anywhere near the maximum because they want a nice cushy ride. But
Yeah,
they're matching his size and shape. They've taken in a specific target or suggested type of tire to be optimized for the ride and design of their vehicle. When people change things, your vehicle doesn't handle the way that it was intended to. One of the things we see a lot these days are people who take tires that are smaller than the rim in which they're putting it on. They're stretching the tire over the rim. It's unsafe.
yeah,
It's obviously not suggested, and charges could be laid. You could be taken off the road for an unsafe vehicle
that's
because
right.
they're making up the rules as they go along. It looks interesting, thus it must be okay.
Yeah, I mean, we get it about, looks are great and all that stuff, but you're driving a motor vehicle that can injure or kill yourself or other people. So, and it's the only thing that's touching the road on your vehicle are your tires. Don't mess with them. Have proper tires, and you'll get the grip to stop, to steer, to accelerate, which we all need to do.
You see tires, you see these big old rubber things in your car, and people say, "I've got great contact." They don't. The contact patch that you're traveling on is just, yeah.
The
There you
size of
go.
your hand
It's
for each
nothing.
tire. That's it.
It's nothing. And you look at motorcycles, it's even smaller.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
true.
Big Jeff Fresh says thank you for that. Naxers comes back and says, I can't read it now. Hang on. Says Scott mentioned a different fill for tires. Is there a difference in what you put it, or if how adjusting amount or fill will help hinder different styles of drive? It's very long and involved. I'll let you read it.
Yeah. So, not overly as far as whether or not you put hydrogen or air in your tires. The difference is that air will evaporate quicker. If you have hydrogen filled tires and you need a top up, it's not that it won't evaporate. It takes longer for that to happen. But if you do need a top up and you have hydrogen, you can mix it with air. But typically, you'd have to go to your dealership to get the hydrogen. Again, I would just stick to the manufacturer of your vehicle. And styles of driving is whether or not you're if you're on the expressway or in the city, Being aggressive is different than that. You're still going quickly, but it's again, an underinflated tire doesn't grip as well, same as an overinflated tire. So you want to again have as much tread touching the road surface as possible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The I always it reminds me of my other dad joke about winter air and summer air. But since Naxers doesn't like the dad jokes, I'll skip it.
Dad jokes are the best.
Even my 7-year-old is starting to roll her eyes at mine. So apparently I need some new material.
I'll help you.
Appreciate it. Maybe we'll put together a share document. It's always great having you on. We've been going for about 30 minutes. Is there anything that you want to send people into the weekend thinking about?
It's not just you out there. It's your actions. If what you do affects other people, think before you act. And it doesn't take long for something bad to happen. And we're all on the same team. And I've used that line a number of times, and because we still are. So if I'm driving near someone, I don't have to like them. I just have to be safe near them. So
Yeah, we all need to get to the same place or to our own places safely, and we have to get along with everybody for the short time that we're sharing that space. Yeah, it really is. What we like to say that traffic safety is a shared responsibility. It really bothers people or some people when we say that, but it couldn't be more true because I have a vested interest in you getting to where you're going safely because I want to get to where I'm going safely. Team sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, it's always great hanging out with you, and I appreciate your time. We'll have to do this again soon. I'm off for 4 days, so back on Tuesday, and we'll be doing the TikTok business. I'll be looking for your TikToks, just to refresh everyone's memory, because I know it's been 30 minutes since I told everybody where to find you. You can find Scott on Twitter at Safe Driver. Where you post constantly, and those go directly to your blog. But if you want to go and skip the middleman, go straight to the safedriver.ca. You can go find Scott's blog there. You are on TikTok, and I always say it, but I'll say it again. I love your TikTok. You crack me up. He's a very funny man. You may not notice it because just looking at him, but he's a funny guy. And
I hope you don't think I'm funny just by looking at me. I'm not sure how to take that, John, but
it's like a sleeper. You don't know. You look so serious sometimes. But see, there you go. There's the driving instructor look, and then Scott's podcast, which I really enjoy. It's the Speed Bumps Safe Driving Podcast. You can download it wherever podcasts are available. It's under 15 minutes. You're in season 2 now, episode 53 or 54. I think I said 54 already.
Yeah, I've just changed it, so it's now season 2, episode 3 is where I'm at.
Yes.
I guess that's 55 episodes altogether. So I was on one of the times I was on the boat on the weekend. I had 2 of my friends on the boat, and one of them had a Bluetooth speaker and had music, and his speaker died. He goes, "Oh, I was going to play a podcast." I go, "I got a podcast for you."
There you go.
So I made them listen to my podcast.
They
did like it.
Oh, did that? That's good.
Yeah.
It tortures
me overboard or anything, so that was
I listen to all sorts of podcasts. I think it's a great way while driving to learn and be entertained in a meaningful way. I mean, music is great sometimes. I like the news. I like keeping up to traffic reports, but I also like taking the opportunity, especially on highway driving when there's less going on, where I can really take advantage of the opportunity. Now, for those who are following us, but not necessarily following us on Twitter, you can find us on Traffic Services, at Traffic Services. Every morning we post the details as to where, things you can go like, I don't know, Vision Zero Enforcement Team, 7 a.m. You'll find out where they are in the city on the day. You can also follow us on Instagram at Traffic Services Toronto. YouTube, where we have lots of fun. We just hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. We're really excited about that. Yeah, that was the first 100 I had to beg all my friends to come subscribe, but slowly but surely we're on so many different platforms. There's so many ways to engage our content. I'm not upset that we're only at 500. I'm really excited that we're at 500 because it just means 500 more friends. Now, you can get us on for YouTube at Traffic Services Toronto Police. Just search us, you'll find us. TikTok, where really the most amount of my time and excitement is because we just hit 180,000. I should say we're not just hit. We're probably over 181,000 right now.
That's
Do I really
awesome.
want to find out? Let's find out. I'm gonna tell you exactly where we're at because it's right here.
I'm trying to catch up to you. Excuse me.
We're at 180.9 thousand. So help us. Come join the party and help push us to 181,000 today. But
Excuse me.
bless you. The deal is that we go live there for an hour a day or whatever day that I'm at work, which is 4 out of 5 days, and we have a lot of fun answering traffic questions there. We had almost 500 people in the room for an hour today, so absolutely amazing. But yeah, you're getting there, and I look forward to be able to go live on TikTok with you.
I know.
It'll happen. It's going to happen soon.
That's my dream.
There you go. It's always good to have a dream. Scott, thanks so much again, and hang out. We're going to say goodbye to everybody, but we'll be back in the green room in a second. And to everyone who's watching, see you on Tuesday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on TikTok, and also live streaming on all platforms, our TikTok broadcast. So we'll see you on Tuesday. Take care, everybody.
Be safe.